money. That's all you're good for. You're our cash cow. That's right. Stop crying and hand it over. You're here to provide for this family. Please, I've already given you everything I had. Please stop a job. You'll keep paying because that's all you're worth.
My name is Aaliyah Carter, and by day, I read balance sheets the way some folks read weather, watching which way the winds of money blow. I'm 33 now, a senior financial analyst in Atlanta, Georgia, pulling in about $162,000 a year. That number didn't fall from the sky. It rose out of a long stretch of daylight choices, some proud, some painful, and a family who treated me like a faucet that should never stop running. At home, it was always understood who shined. My folks, Harold and Denise, liked to say they loved us just the same. But the way they celebrated, my little sister Simone told a different story. When I brought home straight A's in 3rd grade, the reaction was a nod and a, "That's your job." When Simone scored a B on a 1st grade spelling test, they hosted an outdoor picnic at Chandler Park with balloons and barbecue under the noon sun. I remember my own pristine report card warming in my backpack while everybody clapped for Simone spelling apple. The pattern held. On my 16th birthday, I got a $40 secondhand bike from a neighbor. Rust freckles on the frame, one brake stubborn as pride. "Be grateful," Mom said. "Some kids don't get anything." When Simone turned 16, they rolled out a brand new Kia Forte, about $28,500, complete with a giant bow and a daytime driveway reveal for the neighbors to admire. She didn't even have her permit yet. College? I mapped that road myself. I chose a state university in Georgia, pieced together a 40% scholarship, and worked 2 jobs, 15 hours a week, shelving books at the campus library, and weekend catering gigs for outdoor weddings that always ran hot and late. Meanwhile, my parents built a Simone fund, telling anyone within earshot that our future doctor shouldn't worry about money while she studied. I graduated with a finance degree and $42,000 in student loans. My first job was a junior analyst slot at a small firm downtown. $58,000 to start, which felt big until Atlanta rent took its bite. I found a micro studio in Decatur, where you could wash dishes and brush your teeth without moving your feet. It was mine, though, and that mattered. A year in, my phone rang on a bright Sunday while I was meal prepping with the blinds open to let the sun flood the kitchen. Dad's voice had a tight edge. The manufacturing plant, where he'd supervised for decades, had cut his role. Mom's back had worsened. The clinic reduced her to limited shifts. Then came the ask. "Mortgage is due, your mama's appointments keep stacking, and Simone's med school tuition is about $64,000 a year," he said. "We need your help." I swallowed. I was still sending chunks of my check to Sally Mae, and the number he'd just dropped had my throat drying out. Mom slid onto speaker. "We raised you, baby. Families pull together." I told myself it would be temporary, a few months until Dad landed something. A few months turned into 7 years. Some months I covered $2,200, some $4,400, depending on which fire they were stamping out in the daylight. A roof leak, a transmission failure, new course materials for Simone, a specialist copay for Mom. I kept my head down at work, volunteered for weekend projects, and learned to make every dollar clock in and sweat. I refused to only save. I invested. I studied index funds, REITs, and a handful of companies I understood down to their footnotes. After 5 years of grinding, I bought a modest 3-bedroom townhouse in DeKalb County for $395,000. Nothing fancy, but good bones and a yard that caught pure gold every afternoon. I spent Saturdays with a paint roller in one hand and YouTube tutorials in the other, and shoveled every bonus toward the principal until the debt surrendered. By 31, the place was paid off. No mortgage, just taxes, maintenance, and sunlight. My family visited from time to time, plates filled, glasses emptied, guest towels used, and thank you never crossed a single set of lips. Aaliyah provides became the unspoken rule. Simone began bringing her study group over midday, 6 white coats and loud laughter, turning my living room into a cafeteria while the sun burned high. They left with bellies full and no one wiped a counter. I kept paying. I kept smiling. I kept telling myself this is what good daughters do. Right up until the day I overheard what they really called me when they thought I wasn't listening. The day I learned my nickname, the sun was pouring through my hallway like it had a message to deliver. Aunt Renee called while my folks and Simone were over, sprawled on my sofa, sipping iced tea like it refilled itself. I was in the kitchen assembling grilled chicken wraps for a noon lunch on the back deck, when my phone lit up. I answered, told her Mama was here, and started down the hall to pass the call along. I heard laughter first. "Lee's our little well that never runs dry," Mom Denise was saying, the kind of laugh that pinches your cheeks mean. "Turn the handle and the money comes." Dad, Harold chimed in, "She ain't got kids, she ain't got a husband, what else she gonna do with it?" Then Simone, airy as daylight, "Don't go scaring the fountain, y'all. I've still got one more year before residency." I stood there, shoes rooted to the runner. The house I'd painted with my own hands suddenly too bright. In the quiet between their jokes, I placed Aunt Renee back to my ear and lied, "Mama's tied up. I'll have her call you." Then I hung up, set my face in the mirror by the stairs, and went back to the kitchen like I hadn't just been renamed Resource. "We ate outdoors at high noon," I insisted. If they wanted my food, they could at least meet the sun with me. I passed plates, refilled tea, laughed in the right places, not because I was fine, but because the plan blooming in my chest needed time and daylight. For the next 5 months, I didn't change a thing. I kept the automatic transfers humming, $2,800 here, $3,600 there, covered Mom's imaging appointment, paid the mechanic when Dad's alternator died, cleared Simone's lab fees that somehow looked a lot like high-end scrubs. I nodded through every ask and stacked receipts where they couldn't be argued with. When I felt my jaw clench, I loosened it with long walks around the block and podcasts about compound interest. At work, I sharpened my edge. I picked up a cross-department project, landed a client whose books were a tangle of weeds, and turned them into a manicured lawn. My manager bumped my title, my salary ticked up again, and HR slid a bonus across the desk that I split neatly between index funds and the property tax reserve. Quiet wins. Sunny discipline. Then Simone did what Simone does, announced herself. She finished med school and before the cap could cool, posted a midday photo shoot in a white dress with Jalen Pierce, a slick smile, sharp suit, and parents who owned a chain of urgent care centers. The caption read, "2 healers, 1 future." My mother sent me the post with 30 sparkles and 1 directive. "We're planning an engagement luncheon. Dress nice." They chose Harper and Ivy Garden Terrace, a manicured outdoor venue perched above a city park where dragonflies flirt with the hedges and servers float like swans. A Saturday, 1 p.m. start time. Nothing under moonlight, only sunshine, glare, and witnesses. 20 guests, linen-draped tables, violinist under a shade sail, and a dessert cart that looked like it required its own mortgage. I did the math out of habit and almost laughed. This spread would land somewhere near $9,500 before gratuity. I arrived on time in a lemon-yellow sundress that caught the light. Simone glowed center table, flashing a ring that could blind a satellite. Jalen did that thing men like him do, dropped last names like confetti. Harold held court, Denise fluttered, and the Pierce family smiled with a practiced ease of money that had never been asked to apologize for itself. I ate, I toasted water, I waited. Because I knew my father, and I knew he loved a daytime stage. Right on schedule, Harold rose, glass chiming like a bell in church. "Family," he boomed, soaking in the hush. "Today we celebrate 2 brilliant young people stepping into their purpose. But a new life needs the right home, a place worthy of a doctor and a businessman." Simone leaned forward, eyes bright as noon. My father turned to me, easy as pointing at a pitcher of sweet tea. "And that's why Aaliyah's gonna bless them with her townhouse." The garden caught its breath. Forks paused midair. Someone at the far table whispered, "What?" like the wind had mispronounced it. I set my napkin down. The plan I'd been carrying since that hallway laughter stood up inside me, tall and sure. Not a performance, not a plea, just a boundary, wide open in the sun. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need the violinist to pause or the servers to stop gliding past with lemonade. I just stood, letting the sun warm my shoulders. "No," I said. Silence landed like a dropped tray. Harold squinted at me, certain he'd misheard. "What you mean, no, Lee?" "I mean, I'm not giving Simone and Jalen my home. I bought it. I paid it off. It's mine." Simone's smile cracked. "You're joking. Don't be petty on my day." "Petty?" I tilted my head. "Let's do daylight truth." I pulled my phone, already queued to the gallery. Transfer by transfer. Line by line. 7 years of deposits to my parents. Here's $4,200 from the month after Dad lost his job, $2,800 the next, $3,600 right after. I swiped. People leaned without meaning to. Even the violinist faltered. Total? I asked the table, then answered myself. $368,000. Mortgage help. Utilities. Insurance. Copays. And yes, most of Simone's tuition. Denise tried to laugh it off, but her throat clicked. Family don't keep score, baby. Family also doesn't call me a well in a fountain when they think I can't hear. Chairs creaked. Across the linen, Aunt Renee watched me like a prayer had been answered. I turned to Jalen's parents. They were already looking at each other, that silent conversation people with money learn early. I scrolled to a screenshot of my automatic transfer settings, paused, with a date stamp from this morning. As of today, I said no more withdrawals from me. No more late-night Zelle requests. No more one-time emergencies that arrive like the sun, daily. Simone slammed her napkin down. You always envied me. I envied being thanked, I said. One time. For one meal. For one bill. The violinist found his bow again but played the wrong note. Harper and Ivy's event manager approached, concerned about the tone. I smiled and stepped aside so a server could pour tea. Daylight manners, always. Then I set 2 crisp hundreds on the table. That covers my plate. Consider the rest an invoice for 7 years of pretending disrespect was love. Harold rose so fast his chair scraped the tile. If you walk off, you'll cut me off? I eased my sunglasses from my hair and slid them on. Let me make it simple. I'm cutting you off. I left the garden with the sun at my back and more peace than I'd felt since freshman year move-in day. That afternoon, still afternoon, I blocked numbers, canceled transfers, removed their names from my cards, and reset every password they'd just used for streaming. I opened the windows and let warm air move through every room I had earned. For the first time in years, I breathed without counting. 3 weeks later, while I was on a Saturday stroll at the Beltline Market, sun up, vendors hawking peaches and porch plants, Aunt Renee rang again. You sitting down? She asked. I'm walking. Go on. Jalen called off the engagement. Her voice held no triumph, just facts under a bright sky. His folks said if your parents could siphon $368,000 from their own daughter, that pattern ain't an accident. I let out a breath I didn't know I'd held. Simone will say it's my fault. She can say what she wants. A pause. And baby, she wasn't starting residency anyway. Says she's decompressing. Been sleeping till noon, shopping by 2. The peach vendor placed a bag in my hand, cash only. I paid, nodded thanks, kept walking. It didn't stop there. You ready for the kicker? Aunt Renee lowered her voice, though she was standing in her own kitchen in full daylight. Simone slipped off to Miami with a bartender named Rico, took $26,000 your parents had tucked away, cleaned them out. I stopped under a crepe myrtle. Its pink crowns were loud against the noon blue. They'll want me to fix it. They already do. Mortgage notice came. They've been calling cousins like a phone tree. I didn't laugh. I didn't gloat. The market buzzed around me, babies in strollers, someone demonstrating a citrus press, life insisting forward. Tell them I heard them the first time, I said, loud and in daylight. 2 months later, the updates kept coming. The house in South DeKalb sold under pressure. The new landlord's 2 bedrooms sat off a busy road. Harold took a night security job at a warehouse near the airport. Denise wiped floors at the same clinic where she used to wear scrubs with her name stitched neat. Simone came back round and very pregnant, minus Rico, plus overdue rent and a story that changed every time it met the sun. Meanwhile, I was building, not burning. Our CFO tapped me for a cross-functional project. I delivered, and HR slid a new letter across the table. Senior analyst became lead, and my salary clicked to $184,000. I met Marcus in marketing. A soft laugh, a steady hand, a co-parent to a teen girl who thought my townhouse plants were doing the most. We ate patio lunches. We walked daytime trails. I booked my first real trip in years, Ghana in the spring, Seattle in the summer, places where the sun paints your face and dares you to dream out loud. Every now and then, a message circled through the family tree. They want to apologize. They miss you. They want you to meet Simone's baby, Langston. And always, tucked between the lines like a shadow near noon, help. Then one Sunday morning, coffee steaming on my deck, a text slid in from a number that wasn't yet blocked. Aaliyah, this is Mama. New phone. Please, baby, we need help with Simone's hospital bills. Remember, we're family. I showed Marcus. He raised an eyebrow the way good men do, offering a question, not a command. What do you want to do? I scrolled to block. Tapped it. Set the phone face down so the sky could look back at us. Nothing, I said, and meant it. People love to say family is family, like those words undo harm at high noon. But folks who've never been renamed resource don't know the weight of that sentence. They don't know what it is to pump $368,000 into a hole that never once echoes thank you. They don't know how it feels to hear your parents measure you by what you provide, then try to auction your home as if hard work was communal property. Here's what I learned with the sun on my face. Love can be unconditional. Access cannot. Respect is non-negotiable. A boundary is love pointed inward. I didn't make Simone skip residency. I didn't put Rico in her DMs or put a plane ticket to Miami in her hand. I didn't whisper to my parents to save none of the $368,000 I sent. I didn't write the speech where my house became a party favor. They did all that, with their own hands, in broad daylight. And I chose me. I have a home that blooms every afternoon, a career I built brick by brick, and a man who reaches for my hand because it's mine. Not because it holds a card. I'm growing wealth with intention, rest without apology, and a future that shines back when I look at it. Some days I sit on the deck with a glass of iced tea and watch the sun fall across the grass like a blessing. I think about the girl shelving books to make rent, about the woman who learned to say no without adding sorry. And I whisper to both of them, we made it. If you needed this story in clear daylight, take what you need and leave what you don't. If they call you a well, cap it. If they call you a fountain, freeze it. If they only see your value, go where they see you. Sometimes the hardest person to say no to is family. But as Aaliyah's story reminds us, protecting your peace isn't selfish. It's necessary. Real love never treats you like an endless source of money, and true family values you for who you are, not just for what you can provide. Now we'd love to hear from you. What would you have done if you were in Aaliyah's position? Would you have continued helping your family? Or would you have walked away the moment you discovered the truth? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your perspective could encourage someone facing a similar situation. If this story moved you, inspired you, or taught you something valuable, please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another powerful story of resilience, justice, and triumph. Every day, we bring you unforgettable stories that challenge the heart, inspire the soul, and remind us that no matter how difficult life becomes, there's always hope on the other side. Thank you so much for watching. Stay blessed, stay strong, and remember this: never let anyone make you feel guilty for protecting your peace. We'll see you in the next story.